Trump just hit Canada and Mexico with a 25% tariff, and prices on everyday goods could skyrocket. From groceries to cars, this move is set to impact your wallet. But what does it really mean for you? Welcome to Tala Talks Money, where we break down finance, business, and money-making strategies in a simple and practical way. Today, we're diving into Trump's new 25% tariffs and how they could affect your wallet. Let's start the video. Section 1. What are 25% tariffs? So what exactly is a tariff, and why should you care about a 25% tariff on imports from Canada and Mexico? In simple terms, a tariff is like a tax that the government puts on goods coming into the country. This means that if the US is importing something like cars, electronics, or even food from another country, the government charges a fee to the business bringing it in. Now, when President Trump slapped a 25% tariff on imports from Canada and Mexico, it wasn't just some small adjustment. It's a major move that's going to have a significant impact on the cost of many products that come from these countries. Think about it this way. If a car costs $20,000 and the tariff is 25%, that car's price could go up by $5,000, making it $25,000. Not exactly what most people want to hear when they're looking for a new car, right? This new tariff also applies to a lot of things you use every day. Groceries, clothing, and electronics are just a few examples. You'll start noticing higher prices, and that's exactly what Trump is hoping for. He wants to reduce imports and encourage people to buy American-made products. But it's not just about paying more for things. This tariff is part of a bigger economic strategy aimed at putting pressure on countries like Canada, Mexico, and China to make better trade deals with the US. Trump believes that by making imports more expensive, the US economy will benefit in the long run. The question is, who actually benefits from this strategy? Let's take a closer look. Section 2. Who benefits from these tariffs? First off, let's talk about the US manufacturers. Companies that make goods in the US, whether it's cars, steel, or food, are likely to benefit from these tariffs. Here's why. When imported products become more expensive, American-made products suddenly seem more attractive. Imagine you're in the market for a car, and the price of a foreign car has just increased by thousands of dollars. You might look at an American-made car and say, hey, this is a pretty good deal now. So, for industries that compete with foreign imports, this tariff could actually help boost sales. And it's not just about cars. American farmers, tech companies, and even clothing brands may get a little relief from the competition, because now people might be more likely to choose domestic products. But here's the thing, while manufacturers might benefit, consumers like you and me are the ones who will feel the heat. Let's talk about that. Section 3. Who loses from these tariffs? Now, let's be real about the downside of these tariffs. Consumers are the biggest losers. When companies face higher costs due to tariffs, they don't eat those costs themselves. Instead, they pass them on to us, the buyers. So let's say the price of grocery items, clothing, or electronics from Canada and Mexico goes up because of the tariff. You'll see those higher prices at checkout. That's not a fun surprise. Here's a more specific example. If you're someone who loves buying fresh produce from Mexico, tomatoes, avocados, or berries, those could all get more expensive. And it's not just about food, even things like laptops, smartphones, and clothes could see a price hike. Retailers are also likely to struggle. Big box stores like Walmart that rely heavily on low-cost imports may have to raise prices to cover the extra costs. This could mean inflation, where the cost of everyday goods rises more than your paycheck can keep up with. Section 4. Will inflation get worse? So with all these higher prices on goods, will we be looking at inflation? The answer is, it's very likely. Inflation means that the general cost of goods and services goes up, and your money doesn't stretch as far as it used to. For instance, a loaf of bread that costs $2 today might cost $2.20 or $2.50 in a few months, thanks to the added tariffs. Many economists have warned that Trump's tariff strategy could lead to higher inflation, especially if more countries get caught up in this trade war. With fewer cheap goods coming in from abroad, Americans might have to pay more for everything, from food to electronics. But what about jobs? Will these tariffs create more jobs for Americans? It's a bit of a mixed bag. Some industries may see job growth, especially in manufacturing, but in other sectors like retail, where imports are a huge part of business, job cuts might be inevitable. In fact, industries that rely on cheap imports may have to raise wages to keep workers, but those higher wages could just get swallowed up by the rising cost of living. Section 5. Is this a smart move? So here's the big question. Is Trump's tariff strategy actually smart? Some argue that protecting American businesses and reducing dependence on foreign goods is a great way to boost the economy. By making imports more expensive, the US can try to bring more manufacturing jobs back home. But others say that this strategy could backfire, creating higher costs for consumers and lower wages for workers. And let's not forget about the trade wars with other countries. Canada, Mexico, and even China are responding with tariffs of their own, which could hurt American exporters. At the end of the day, Trump's tariffs are part of a much larger economic strategy that will affect everything from the price of your morning coffee to the car you drive. If you're in the market for big-ticket items like electronics or cars, you'll likely feel the hit of these tariffs sooner rather than later. And while American manufacturers might get a boost, the rest of us will be paying the price. So what's the takeaway here? Be prepared for prices to rise and keep an eye on the news for any updates that could impact your personal finances. What do you think about Trump's tariffs? Are they a smart move for the US economy, or is it just a way to make life more expensive for everyday people? Drop your thoughts in the comments below, and make sure you subscribe for more updates on how politics and finance intersect, so you can stay ahead in today's economy. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.